Hey guys, today we're back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the UConn Huskies. Let's go into the video. So this year they started off 14-2, and they won their first 3 games versus Northern Arizona, Stonehill, and Mississippi Valley State. And they weren't really that good of opponents, but they still beat them by a lot. And then they won the Satva Empire Classic versus a really good Indiana team that they beat by 20, and also a good number 15 Texas team. And then they won versus Manhattan and New Hampshire, and they took their first loss in the Big East Big 12 battle at number 5 Kansas. So it wasn't that bad of a loss. And did you get to watch any of that game?
No.
But yeah, and they didn't really have Donovan Clingan as much, so it was kind of tough to stay with Hunter Dickinson. And then they won versus Arkansas Pine Bluff and won the Continental Tire Seattle tip-off versus number 10 Gonzaga. Then they took their first loss in conference, and then in their conference opener, they lost at Seton Hall. Then they won at a really good St. John's team, won their next 2 games versus DePaul and at Butler. And then the last game that they played, they barely won at Xavier. For their quad games, they're 5-1 in quad one, which is really good. So that means they can beat like top tier teams. And then they're 2-1 in quad two, which is also not that bad. 1-0 in quad three and 6-0 in quad four. So basically, what would you expect? So basically, what you would expect from a like a top tier team. And so they're a really good team, even against like really other good teams, and they're almost unbeatable when they have Donovan Clingan. And then the next game is versus Georgetown. Well, as a as I'm recording this, they just beat them. So yeah, that's really good for them. And then for their best players, they play Tristan Newton. In my opinion, he's been their best player, and he's been having a really good season. He's a really good all-around player, and he's been averaging 15.2 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 6 assists a game, and also 1.3 steals. And what do you think about those stats for him?
Yeah, he's good, but like you said, they're kind of unbeatable when they do have Donovan Clingan.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still feel like they could improve.
Yeah. And I mean not Cam, Tristan Newton, he does need to work on his efficiencies a little bit and the turnovers, but other than that, he's been really good this season. And then Cam Spencer, he was a grad transfer from Rutgers, and he's been leading the team in scoring with 15.4 points a game, and he's also been averaging 4.1 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 1.4 steals while shooting 45% from three. So he's also been doing really good this year. And then Donovan Clingan, like I said, he's been struggling staying on the court this season, and he just had a foot injury that's going to keep him out for a month. And about 3 weeks ago, and he's been averaging 13.9 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. And while he's been out there, and he's also been shooting 63.3% from the field. And I think they're undefeated with him, or like with him playing like the minutes that he needs, but without him, they kind of struggle because they don't have that like big presence like we do with you and Mason on my like AAU team. And yeah, that's about it. And then for Alex Caravan, he's also been really good this season. In this past game, he just hit like 4 threes or 5 threes in the first half, which is really good for him. And he's also been one of their best players, and he's been averaging about 15 points, 5.8 rebounds, and he's been shooting 38% from three on almost 6 attempts a game. And they did lose some really good players last year, like Jordan Hawkins, Adama Sanogo, and Andre Jackson, and they all combined for about 40 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 assists, but they made up for that because all the other players stepped up. And now for the stats, they're 25 in points with 83.3, 47 in opponent points with 65.4, 87 in rebounding with 38.3, and 11 assists with 18.5. So they definitely had good chemistry, and they're scoring a lot and passing really good. And then their defense is not that bad, but they're like rebounding, they kind of need to work on that a little bit more because Donovan Clingan, he's been rebounding pretty well while he's been in there, but he just has limited playing time, so it's kind of hard for him to do all the work down there. And Tristan Newton, he's been really good. He's been a really good rebounding guard. He's 6'5", and he's been just doing pretty good. But the rest of the team has to kind of step it up with rebounding, and I think they'll be really good. And then they have some really good players, like I said, and they have some good scores this year. And they have 4 players that are averaging 14 plus points a game, which is really good for them. And they can lean on multiple people to step up each game. And I noticed some things that they struggle on, though. They struggle on offense, fouls, 3 pointers, and turnovers. And then in the Kansas loss, they only had 65 points. They only shot 8 for 15 from the free throw line, which is only 53.3%. And they had 18 fouls with some of their best players in foul trouble. And even though Tristan Newton had 31 points, they still lost. And we can like relate that to our games. Like when you're in foul trouble, we kind of struggle, or like any of our other
Yeah.
players. Yeah. And then in the Seton Hall loss, their offense struggled even more with only 60 points, which is probably not going to win you a game in college basketball, especially against a good team. And then they shot 4 for 21 from three, which is only 19%. So they struggled in that game, and they had 17 turnovers, which is also not going to win you a game, especially from our experience, because when we got like a lot of turnovers, then it's like tough to
Yeah.
win. And they also had 18 fouls that game. So overall, that was a pretty bad game for UConn, and that was like the worst I've ever seen them play this year. And like I said, they're 14-2 this year, but before the year, I thought they would go 25-6, and I still think they could go between 24-7 and 26-5 now. So I always knew they were a good team. And what did you think before the season? Like what record did you think they were gonna have?
I thought I thought they were gonna go like the same record as you because I knew they couldn't win every game,
Yeah,
but they
and it's a tough
yeah,
conference too.
and they would definitely win most of their games.
Yeah, yeah, yep. And yeah, that's about it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining me, Kellen. And the next episode is Creighton.